All right, everybody. I'm feeling spicy after getting unjustly sued by someone. I got hit by someone down here in San Diego, and they're trying to claim it on me, but they're going to be at fault for this thing. So I'm feeling a little spicy today. I had a rough day talking to insurance adjusters all day long. So I got Kevin Hill from Burro Mountain Rifles on, and I feel like just pissing everybody off, talking about Creedmoors and talking about energy and everything that pisses off all these rifle guys. Let's have some fun, Kevin. Let's talk about
All
guns,
right,
dude.
let's dive into it.
Dude, so what the heck is Burro Mountain Rifles, and where are you at, and what is that behind you? Is that an Ibex behind you?
That's an Ibex from the Floridas down here in New Mexico.
Oh, you drew the Florida tag.
Yes, sir.
My man. Is that a female behind it as well?
There's a nanny. I actually got the Billy tag off of an incentive from tagging out on the nanny.
Really? So what do you mean?
So they don't offer that program anymore, but in
Okay.
2020 they did, and I was able to harvest a nanny and then check it into the state. And once Game and Fish basically registered that I was successful, they put me in for a special draw, and I was able to get a Billy tag out of that special draw
In the same year?
in the same year.
Dude, that's where it's at, man. Like
Yeah.
that second dude has been on here. Like I had a guy come on here like probably a year ago, and he drew an Oryx tag on the White Sands, and then
hmm
he drew a broken Oryx tag on the White Sands the same year.
Holy cow.
So there's tricks to your guys' madness down there. Not so much for the non-resis, but dude, like I don't even put in. I put in for everything down there. I don't put in for
hmm
ibex, and I don't put in for sheep because it's just really expensive, and the odds are so slim, especially for ibex. But that's awesome, man. Like, what did you have to do? Any, like rope climbing or anything, or was it intense as I think it is, or?
That mountain is crazy. The nanny was actually the harder hunt.
And it
It
is a mountain, just so everyone knows. Like this is where the ibex are in New
yeah.
Mexico. Like this
They,
is the mountain they're on.
the locals call it the Rock because it is just sheer bluffs. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I'm a firm believer for anybody that wants to hunt billies, they need to hunt nannies first because there's a lot of steep angles and a lot of cross canyon shots, and it was a learning curve for me.
Yeah, it's I've heard it's one of the most like in the lower 48 like terrain wise one of the most insane terrain hunts we have. Like
I
it's
would
it's
I would
that
agree
gnarly.
with that.
Like a lot of the animals they have to call in somebody who can rope climb down to get them. Like you have to
Yes,
be
sir.
very aware of where you shoot them because it's like
Absolutely.
you're not gonna get them out of there.
Absolutely. I was very fortunate that this billy worked his way down to a bluff that we were comfortable climbing, and I was able to anchor him with one shot with a 28 nozzler.
Really big 28 nozzle guy, huh?
Yes, sir.
Should we just get right into it and talk about what
Yeah.
the hell makes his 28 nozzle better than my 280 Ackley, dude?
You
In
know,
my mind, I don't think it is until I hit 600 yards.
marketing,
Marketing?
marketing. 280 Ackley is a great cartridge. I have a lot of friends that run it. Um, Before I really understood ballistics and everything, I jumped head first and fell in love with the cartridge and the performance. And so I've just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, right? We're gonna get into Burro Mountain Rifles too, about why I say when you say marketing. So a 280 Ackley, I'm shooting my bullets at like I think 3,100 feet per second on my 280 Ackley, my hammer bullets. So it's or maybe no, you know what? That gun is different. That 3,100 feet per second for my hammers, for my burgers. When I was shooting some burgers out of it, I was shooting those like 2,900.
hmm
It had 1,000 pounds of energy out to 800 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Like with BCs, like with modern bullets are, you can get away with a standard action bullet and do just as much as those magnums out to a certain range. And really, those bullets don't even become those cartridges. I mean, but aside from wind drift and drop, like for hunting ranges, you don't need more than a 30-06 or even a 308, in my opinion, to make most kill shots. It's when
Oh,
you get to like
absolutely.
600-700 yards that you do. And what people don't understand is that yes, that bullet will be going now at, let's say I'm shooting a, what's your 7 PRC doing? What velocity are you getting out of it?
Oh, my 7 PRC, we're getting about 2840, but
What are you
my
shooting though?
28 nozzler
What,
is
90s or
getting
something? Oh,
180. 180. My 28 nozzler is getting 3100 out of a 22-inch barrel.
really?
Yeah.
So why is the other one going so slow?
Um, with the 7 PRC, I'm
Yeah.
thinking case capacity.
Oh, I'm sorry. 'Cause that's a short case. That's a short case. That's right. That's right.
Well, the 7 is in a long action, but it's kind of a medium case, and we so we like to run suppressors, and so we run
Yeah.
shorter barrels, and
Yeah.
so a lot of the times we run on 22-inch barrels. So I like the Magnum, so that way I can kind of cheat a little bit, get that higher velocity out of the shorter barrel.
That does have a benefit to it, right? So essentially, what you're doing now is shooting a 7 millimeter odd eight.
Uh,
it's just velocity wise,
for the
velocity
7
wise,
PRC, maybe. Yes,
for
sir.
the 7 PRC. So
Yeah.
that's what people understand when we're listening to this. I'm not knocking what you're doing. I'm just saying I can get the same velocities you're getting out of a 22 or 24 inch. Anyways, sorry, my daughter walked in. Maybe it'll be in the podcast. Who knows? I'm feeling spicy today. So that's what I'm trying to say. So you're getting, you said 2,700 feet per second out of that 7 PRC
Yeah.
with a 180.
With the 180.
You probably can't get that with a 7 millimeter odd eight. You definitely could with a 280 Ackley.
Oh yeah, with the
You
280
definitely
Ackley
with
all
280
day.
Ackley, I can get the 180 going. Like I said, 29 something out of my 24-inch barrel 280 Ackley. I'm shooting the 180 grain burgers or 175 grain burgers like 29.15
Oh, okay.
with some RL26. So just because it's a 7 PRC doesn't mean that it's going faster than 280 Ackley. It's just now what you could do is shrink that barrel down with that Magnum and run are you running an 18-inch barrel? What are you running?
We're running 22s predominantly.
Oh, you're running a 22 and it's still only shooting 2,700 feet per second, huh?
That's a friend of mine does the loads for the 7 PRC, and that's what he's getting.
Okay, so it's slower, but you could still accomplish that. And let me tell you why I prefer. Actually, I don't even have any Magnums. I shoot a 30 nozzle once when my father-in-law's got one. I prefer a standard action like a 30-06 or a 280 Ackley over a 7 Rem mag or a 300 Win mag or a PRC is for feeding issues. Historically, a standard cartridge is just going to feed much easier than a Magnum cartridge, right? Especially in a top-fed magwell. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now you can. So the reason why I'm not knocking the PRC, I'm just saying is the whiz bang hot cartridge right now. With a 280 Ackley, I could get more rounds down, and the only difference I'm going to have is maybe a slight difference in weight because it's a long action, which you're probably running a long action with yours anyways, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So you're already running a long action. So why in the world would you shoot a 7 PRC over a 280 Ackley and not have all that extra, those one extra round down underneath it, and not after those feeding issues and the feed ramps and things bounding up?
So this is coming from a customer basis, from guys I talk to.
Yeah.
They want to be able to buy ammo on the shelf and go shoot half-minute MOA, and the 7 PRC does that with the Hornady stuff.
Okay, with the Hornady stuff. Okay, so you can do it, and you can go get it. That makes sense. But you can buy 280 Ackley too over the shelf, right?
Yeah.
You can, and you could definitely buy 280 Remington, which is the but it's not going to be as. It's going to be pretty damn near because you got to understand a 280 Ackley is a Magnum, but it's a short action, where the powder capacity I bet you is pretty darn near the same as that .6 case used for a 280 Ackley.
Mm-hmm.
Right now. That's fine. Whatever. To each their own on what you're going to do with your cartridges. I didn't bring you on here to hammer you. That's what you want to talk about today. I told you I'm feeling spicy. I just want to talk about.
No,
I just think there's a lot of misinformation out there about these cartridges, which yes are marketing ploys, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Hornady. No offense, Hornady. The 6.5 Creedmoor is a 260 Remington that was very well advertised. It was actually less efficiency, right? And these guys make money. People listening to this. By creating new cartridges, making you buy new guns.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's make a 7 PRC. Let's make, my God, what is this new one called? The 7 Western or something like that?
Oh,
that
the 7 Backcountry?
7 back. It's a 280 Ackley improved. It's what it is in a steel case. The 7, and like everyone and their mom is going out there and just like, you've got every influencer in the world running this 7 Backcountry. And it's like, my God, you could do the same thing with so many other cartridges. And the ammo is readily available. And I'm like, I look at this cartridge and I'm like, is this cartridge going to last? Whatever, Federal Commanders can do it, but like, you're putting a lot of risk on buying a 7 Backcountry. I'm telling you right now, because if it doesn't sell guns, they're not going to make ammo for it in 2 years.
Yep.
You'd be much better off buying a 280 Ackley or a 7 PRC, which you know is an established cartridge, is going nowhere, right? 280 Ackley is getting more popular every single year. 7 PRC is very popular right now. I prefer 7mm over 6.5s all day long, which you get into that as well. Yeah. But so I digress. Back to the original point, which was you were shooting 28 Nosler.
Yes, sir.
And you're shooting that at what velocity? What
Out of
bullet?
that 22-inch barrel, I'm getting 3,100 feet a second.
And now what bullets you shoot on that? Lighter ones, 160s then?
180 burgers.
180 burgers. Okay.
Yeah.
You shoot 180 burgers. Now, the cool thing is about that gun is it is going to give you some extreme velocities, right?
Oh yeah.
And you're going to have you're getting extreme velocities out of it versus like my 280 Ackley is getting 29. I want to say 20. It might be 2950. It's somewhere in the 29s, 2950 or something like that with that same bullet with the 175 burger.
Oh, okay.
Now, here's my argument to you. And
Okay.
I didn't bring on your argument. The experience to just be right, and you just agree with me. All right. But you can. I would love for you to tell me why I'm wrong. At what point do I need if my 280 Ackley that is now not going to burn up barrels every because what's a 280 knowledge is like a 700 round gun, right? A 5 to 800 round gun.
I've gotten 1,500 and still shooting out of
Still
one of my
shooting,
barrels, but I
but
swapped it out because I was getting a little nervous.
historically it's like right around there, right? Whatever,
Yeah.
700 to 1,000 rounds. It's not known for barrels, which is fine. I don't care about that because like honestly, I tell people all the time, you don't build a race car and worry about the race fuel. Like if you
Exactly.
can't afford
Yeah.
to shoot a 28 nozzler, shoot 280 Acro. The ammo's a lot cheaper. You're gonna go. The barrel will last you forever, right? Shoot a 30-06. We're gonna get into that in a minute. So, anyways, you have to if you understand ballistics. My gun is still putting 1,000 foot-pounds of energy out at 800 feet, 800 yards,
hmm
and I think it's still going like 2,000 feet per second or something like that with high
I'd
speed people. Maybe
I'd be
maybe
willing to bet your threshold's a little bit higher than that.
it probably is. It probably. I'm just. Maybe it's. You know what? Maybe it's 1,500 feet, 1,500 pounds of energy, 800. I have to look at it. I think it might be 1,500 pounds of energy at 800 yards and 1,000 energy at 1,000 yards. That's right. That's right. Correct. So why the hell do I need a 28 nozzler to do the same thing that mine gun does with less recoil, less money, less barrel burning? Why would I ever justify other than it's really cool?
Personal preference. I'm actually staring at a 28-inch over-the-counter Barbary sheep hanging on my wall that I killed at 1,250 yards.
Yep.
Cold bore, one shot.
So that's where you're gonna shine, right?
Yes,
Now
sir.
I have cord board with my 280 Ackley at 1,200 yards. I can tell you that, but not. I would never. Me and you are different. I would never take a shot at an animal at 250 yards. Like I just not my. I do too much shooting for me to trust myself to. I shoot 4 days a week, and I still wouldn't take that shot. I'm more of a like I like to be in that 500 yard range.
Well,
Just I know stuff
there
goes
is a
wrong.
backstory to that.
Okay.
Normally, I wouldn't shoot that far because I want to make a good ethical shot. But one of my friends had winged that Barbary, and it
Yep.
was getting away from us.
That's where he needs it. That's where you
And
need it.
I was able to get a good range and was able to get a good dope for the wind and had all the time in the world and sent one and one shot, one kill.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then
That's cool.
yeah, it was impressive. I'll never be able to duplicate that.
So that's where. But that's people to understand. The gun, the 30 nozzler, or which is my we shoot 30 nozzler, or the 300 PRC. These are big, large Magnum long
hmm
action cartridges. They don't start. They don't even come into a range where they're necessary until like 800 yards, right, or
Yeah.
600, whatever depends on the cartridge you're doing. Like you could do all the same things for the average dude who's hunting. You can get away with a 30-06, or maybe you want to shoot a little. Say you're going 30 caliber, and someone can be like, "I want a 30 caliber I can shoot 600 yards with." I would say, "Okay, get a 300 Win Mag."
Oh yeah.
Why? It's available and it just
hmm
shoots. And the military uses it for a reason,
Oh yeah.
right? It just shoots, right? I mean, and you're gonna have a little more impact velocity at that distance, right? Where I'm shooting out of my 30-06, I'm shooting a 150 grain bullet and I'm shooting at
hmm
3160. But those lower BC bullets really start falling off around 400 to 500 yards, right? Like I
Yes, sir.
wouldn't want to shoot something. I did shoot something at 540 yards the other day, just target practice.
Yeah.
I nailed it, but it's just not. I understand my gun. I understand ballistics, and I just
hmm
know now. Like if I wanted to take, if now let's say I wanted to go into a heavier gun, a heavier bullet, maybe like a 178 LRX from Barnes, right? Like I'm
hmm
a big fan of Barnes as well. Um, my 30-06 is like pushing those like 2,700 feet per second, right? Well, that damn 30 nozzle or that 300 Win Mag will push that same bullet probably 2,950
Yeah.
or 3,000, and
See,
now
so
that
now you're touching on it.
yeah.
So all of these companies are reinventing the wheel because they have the modern bullets. So they're
Mhm.
slapping fast twist barrels on these things, and
Yep.
shooting the higher BC ammo and calling it brand new and the hottest thing on the shelf, right?
Yep.
They're just reinventing the wheel.
It's
And
the
the
same
marketing, yeah.
cartridge, dude. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
same, like a 300 PRC. No offense, everybody. It's not necessary unless you're shooting past 800 yards. And I'm telling you right now, like I did the 30-06 thing this year. I didn't shoot a deer past 290 yards this year myself personally. My kid shot a deer at 385 with the 308, dropped him in his tracks, done.
Mm-hmm.
But for those ranges, which most guys are shooting under 500 yards, I would say more likely under 300 yards, which is 900 feet, right? 420 yards is a quarter mile. You have to try. I mean, no offense, guys. Like, I don't want to tell you you're a bad hunter. You can get within a quarter mile of a freaking deer, man.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
no, like it. You like, yes, I'm going to tell you right now. If you can't get within 400 or 500 yards of an animal, you're not a good hunter. Like you got, like, you know what I mean? Like you have to try. Like I can't think of a time I have to try to get 1,000 yards from an elk. Sometimes, like it's like what you're not seeing. Some of these guys are doing it. Like some of
Mm-hmm.
these, I don't want to name companies, but some of these brands that do this real long range shooting and build guns, like they're probably passing animals at 500 yards so they can find animals at 1,200 yards to prove what their gun can do. Right?
I actually know some individuals that do that. If they find an animal, they'll back up so they can shoot further.
That's so stupid. And then here's another thing you guys don't see. This is why I get pissed off. What you're not seeing off camera is them, because you're so far away, is them taking a practice shot, warming the bore up
Oh yeah.
at a rock to get their dope, and then say, okay, you were 3 mils right. Bring your gun over. Then they go to the animal and shoot the animal.
Yep.
Because you guys, at 1,000 yards, that elk, they hear gunshots all day long. They don't care. And hitting a rock 50 yards to their left, they don't care. And
Mm-hmm.
it happens all the time. You don't see it on video because they get up there and it's like, I'm shooting the, let's say 28 Nosler is one of these gun companies out there. It's a big 28 Nosler gun company out there that makes 28 Nosler guns and shoots all their animals at 1,200 yards. I've heard through the grapevine that they take test shots sometimes
Oh yeah.
and get their dope. And then they get on camera and they show you this gun you could buy, right? And then that's where you get these freaking a-holes like I had down in Arizona last year from Texas. They're probably 400 pounds shooting from the top of a rim at 1,000 yards at a spike, 15 rounds missing.
Yeah.
Because they bought a 300 Nosler and all I got to do, elevation's easy. As long as you know what you're doing and you know how to read if you know how to read a chronograph and get your speed, elevation is simple. It's the wind that'll get you every time.
The wind will get you. Yeah.
Every time. And that I can say that yes, with a higher velocity bullet at 600 yards, it's going to cut the wind better and you might not have as much wind drift. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's there. So now my 300, yes, at 600 yards, your 300 PRC is going to probably do better wind drift by 6 to 8 inches than a 300 Win Mag. And it might
Yep.
be 2 foot better than a 30-06 or a 308, right? And it is not going to drop as much. You're going to have more velocity there. But still, once you get to those extreme ranges, it doesn't matter what gun you're shooting. I don't want to say there's some luck involved in those shots, but damn, there's some luck involved in some of those shots.
It absolutely is.
Tell you what, guys, go out to the desert, go pick a rock at 900 yards, run up and down the hill a couple of times, and then put a stick between your nuts and lay down on the stick, and then shoot that target at 850 yards and tell me how good you did the first shot.
So I have a partner that I'm in business with that's handling all of the reloading. And me and him constantly have these late night text message arguments about what's more important, accuracy or knowing environmentals. I think environmental factors cause more misses than bad shots.
You would be like anyone listening to this who doesn't have, like, if you're shooting past 500 yards, you don't have a Kestrel, like, you have no idea how lucky you're getting.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, if you have a Kestrel and you realize that going from not only 1,000 feet to 5,000 feet, but going from like density altitude and like the atmospheric pressures,
Absolutely.
it's a cold morning and it's really cloudy out, your bullet is going to drop so much faster than on a clear sunny day because there's going to be stuff collecting on that bullet weight, what you don't see, and it's going to bring that thing down.
I have this argument with clients quite regularly. I mean, not to knock on them, but people like custom turrets. And I mean, if you shoot one temperature, one elevation, one time a day, that's fine. But once you start, really getting out there hunting different elevations, different areas, that custom turret's not going to work.
So let me tell you what I do. So both my boys and both my partners all shoot 308s with Leopold VX3Is. I shoot the same load out of all three of them, the 160 grain TTSX, and they all have custom turrets set at 5,000 feet elevation.
Yeah.
But I understand ballistics, and I understand they're not going to be shooting past 400 yards, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter at that
Yeah,
range.
it doesn't.
It
At that
doesn't
range,
matter.
it does not.
It does not matter. So I'm like, you know what? Like honestly, it's whether if I do 5,000, it's pretty good down to like 3,000, and it's pretty good up to 8,000, and it's close enough at those ranges where it's not going to matter. And I understand it. But now, let's say I want to shoot further than that, like, and I'm going to Colorado at 12,000 feet. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
order another turret. Like, you know what I mean? I'll probably order another turret. If I knew, I'll have to look at my kids' guns. Was they're shooting a Creedmoor, or one shooting a Creedmoor, one shooting a 308. This year we're going to do a Oregon hunt. Like I'll have to look at how high elevation is. If we're really high, like if we're up at like 10,000 feet, I'll probably order him another turret for his gun. And now the reason why I like custom turrets for my kids and my partners is my partners haven't reloaded a bullet in their life.
Right.
I hand them a gun like a 6-year-old little boy and be like, here's your gun. And they see the animal, they see 340, they turn to 340, and they're done. They don't know what an
Yeah.
MOA is. They don't understand that an MOA at 100 yards is basically 1 inch. At 400 yards, it's basically 4 inches. They don't understand any of that. They don't want to know
Oh,
that. They just
it
want to know.
definitely has its place. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I run a custom dial. I carry a Kestrel. I know all this stuff. And I'm not even shooting that far distances, right? Um, it's even though I shoot all the time those ranges, I would much rather have no custom dial and know like wherever I am, I can turn my Kestrel on, get my everything, and I know okay, my dope is this, and my dope is at home. It was 2.9 for I shot my deer. I knew for a fact it was like 300 yards, but when I'm at 12,000 feet, it might be it's lighter air density. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be 2.7
Yep.
or 2.6 at 300 yards. Like it's going to be maybe a quarter MOA less at 300 yards because the air is that much lighter. The bolt's going that much, carrying so much better up there. Right. So it's just, there's so much to do. There's so much more to do with ballistics than there are calibers, and people just don't understand it.
Oh, absolutely.
And with today's modern bullets, there's an argument to be had that a 30-06 can do everything it's always done, and it will continue to do it.
Oh yeah, it's won 2 world wars.
It's won 2 world wars. I'll tell you what I'm doing this year is I really do need to start doing some more custom rifles again. I need to like maybe have you build me a gun or something. Like I have my PRS gun, my NRL gun. Last year I bought a Browning for $800 and shot it. Like I have probably 4 custom rifles in the safe that I don't use right now. So last year I bought that 30-06 and I killed a pile of animals with it. I did embarrass myself on the Go Hunt podcast last week with it. I freaking missed 3 out of 5 targets. Whatever. Whatever. I make good bipods. I don't shoot well. Anyways, I digress from that. But where's it going? This year, I'm going to pick it up after this podcast, which is I wanted to get it early with you, but it didn't happen. It's my fault. I'm getting an open sight 30-30,
Awesome.
19-inch barrel, stainless steel, and I don't know how much I'm going to hunt with it, but I can tell you when I go to Alaska, that's the only gun going with me.
Oh yeah, it's great for jump shooting.
I'm planning on stalking and getting close and making the shot under 150 yards, open sights, shooting that thing.
Heck yeah.
And we're doing sick of blacktails. Me and Ben Donamani. Ben's bringing a 45-70 because Ben's a wuss. He's afraid of bears. I am faster than Ben. I think he's pretty dude. Like I hunted with Ben. If anyone knows Ben, like I thought like I totally stereotype Ben as like not being a good hiker, and Ben is like a tractor. He is impressive, dude. Like I was like hiking and I was like, I gotta hike faster. I can't let Ben beat me up this hill. Like, like this guy's whole MO is eating little Debbie's, and like, this guy's fast. He's in shape, man. He lost like 50 pounds or something. He's impressive. But anyways, I'm just gonna outrun Ben as my goal. But I mean, honestly, I look at it. I'm like, I'm gonna be shooting copper Barnes 150 grain TSXs out of this gun. A Grizzly comes, a copper bullet, 30 caliber is going to handle business at those ranges. And I understand ballistics. I understand at that distance, my TSX is going to be hitting that thing at 2,400 feet per second. That's like a 30-06 hitting something at 300 yards.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Just,
So
just keep pumping it into them.
It's the same. That's what people don't understand. Like at these ranges, it's the same gun. At under 100 yards, it doesn't matter what caliber you're shooting. If it's 30 caliber, it's going to get 300 blackout. 300 blackout is going to hit a deer at 100 yards at pretty darn near the same velocity you're going to hit a deer at 400 yards with the 300 Win Mag.
Yep.
I'm just talking about, don't, if you guys can put in the show notes if I'm an a-hole and I'm wrong, but on velocities, but I'm telling you right now, like under 100 yards, it doesn't matter, right? That's why I tell these guys, like, it's so funny. Like I went to Texas and we sat in a blind and we shot a deer with a 45-70. The guy couldn't believe we were using 45-70. And I'm like, what do you guys shoot? He's like, I'm shooting 28 yards. I'm shooting all this stuff. I'm like, why? You're literally shooting under 100 yards
Yeah.
for everything. Why? Like I would just shoot a 300 blackout. You know what I mean? Like I would just like, I'm like, why would I want to shoot why do I need to shoot a 300 PRC out of a blind at a deer? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you there. As long as you know what velocity your bullet needs to perform, that's really all that matters.
So let's get into that spiciness too, because I like energy. People are, and I'll tell you why I like energy, because I know that if a bullet has the energy, it has the velocity.
Yep.
Typically, in my opinion. Now, if I go talk about energy on Rock Slide or anywhere, people are going to flip out. We'll talk about a little more after that too. Now,
Forum warriors.
Oh, we should we'll talk about match bullets after this too, because I really make people upset about match bullets. So, I still believe 1,500 pounds for elk, 1,000 pounds for deer.
I'm in consensus with you.
And that puts my kids through weight at 400 yards for elk all day long. It's with a heavy for caliber bullet, you could do it. And 400 yards, like I said, is damn near a quarter mile. It's a school bus, and they're not that hard to get close to. You guys, like 308 is all you need. And but man, and let me tell you why. Because I know for a fact if that bullet is still carrying 1,000 pounds of energy, it's still probably in that 1,900 foot-pounds of, or 1,900 feet per second range, or 1,800 feet per second range. So it's still going to perform, which is what you need. Which you still going to need of a copper bullet. Because I understand now everyone's like, energy is such a stupid statistic. It's just, it's like there's so many guys who are on the internet who are obviously ballisticians and they work at Hornady or they work at Barnes, and they just don't understand why. That's a joke, by the way. Energy is a joke. It's just, and like if energy was a joke, it wouldn't be on every freaking box.
No, I'm a firm believer in energy,
dude. I'm telling you right now, now, Grant, I was making fun of 30 Nosler. I don't let my father-in-law shoot my targets closer than 400 yards.
Oh, it'll knock the shit out of them.
It knocks them, dude. It hits with so much authority. His 300 PRC, dude. We shot a target 300 yards. We get ready for Mexico. Knocked it over. I got to drive out there and pick it up. And like you shoot with 308 and just hitting it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Now I'm not saying that it makes it a better cartridge at 300 yards. They all kill the same. In that distance, everything kills the same. But I can tell you, like, go have your toddler punch you, and then go have like a trucker punch you.
Right.
And that's the difference between a 300, a heavy for caliber bullet with energy versus a bullet with no energy, which is all. And I just see it. And where I'm going with that, I'm not rooting for the 300 PRC. Where I'm going with that is this new kick for everyone to shoot 6mm bullets at every animal. Everyone wants to shoot a 75 grain Sierra Tips Match King at animals and a 6mm, whether it be a 6mm Creedmoor or 243. Some guys are going down to 5.56s, and they're like velocity. It's all that matters. Put the bullet in the right spot. And I'm like, man, I'm not a match bullet guy. So I know you are. We use burgers. I have burgers. Some of my guns. I have a little bit of a lead issue. I'll be honest. Like I have 5 kids. I don't want to eat lead. And I've also seen things where you hit the shoulder of an elk and you lose your elk.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I see my father-in-law do it. And he lost the elk because it blew up in the shoulder and didn't go through. Where if I was using a bullet that was more hard, it would go through. My point is yes, you can kill an animal with a, 6mm bullet. Yes. But I'm telling you right now, you can kill it more dead with a 30 caliber bullet.
No replacement for displacement.
No, that's exactly my thing. Here me an example. My father-in-law is shooting 220 grain burgers in Mexico. My partner had to shoot his gun. Here's my father-in-law's 30 Nosler. We have a deer at 120 yards. My partner just smokes this deer. You can see in the video, blood just, he hits it and the blood just goes, out the back. It's wicked, right? I want to show this video.
Oh, yeah.
If you want, if you're listening to this, you can message me. I'll show you the video. Maybe I'll text it to you or email you or something. Like, I'm not going to put it on the internet because people will cry. So then this deer, before I can stop my partner, this deer spins backwards and is like kind of stepping back. He racks another one and shoots one straight through the back strap, hits the spine, blows through this deer. dead on arrival. Deer's dead right there. We get down there,
That's half your meat.
dude. There was no back. That deer. I'll send you the video when we get off the air. Just don't be like sharing it. You can share it. You can share it with you know who you can share it with, right? Just don't put it on the
Right,
internet.
right.
It put that deer, that 30 caliber bullet that exploded when it hit, because it's a match bullet, put that deer 10 feet up in a tree.
Yeah.
Like roast beef. Like strips of jerky up in this tree. It just hit so hard and displaced so much. The energy was so wicked that it just like exploded this deer, hit the spine, and blew the deer up in the tree. Right. My point is that thing hit so hard that I like having a heavier for caliber bullet, a 30 caliber bullet, or a 7 millimeter bullet over a 6 millimeter bullet. So like I've done both. I've had my kids start out with 243s. Now
Hmm.
all my boys shoot 308s. Why? Because, and you could say you can shoot one boy. My one boy is going to shoot Creedmoor this year because he's 11 years old and it's a little more forgiving on him. And I'm going to change the barrel to a 308. I bought a Seekins is actually building me a gun for him right now. But I could change the barrel out. It has like quick change barrels
Yeah,
on it, which
quick
is
look.
nice. Yeah, so I'm going to go and change the barrel to a 308 in a couple of years. Because I just know that when you hit an animal with a 170 grain 30 caliber bullet, it dies better.
It dies faster.
It dies faster. And I've killed elk with 260 Remingtons, which is a 6.5 Creedmoor, and it took me 5 shots.
Hmm.
Right. I've also shot elk multiple times with high caliber rifles as well, but it's not the same. It just goes all the way through. You get full penetration. It just hit hard. It's a better bullet than the 6.5. I'm sorry. I think the 6.5 Creedmoor is a phenomenal deer cartridge. I think the 6.5 Creedmoor is a great antelope cartridge. It's a great, and that goes the same for 6.5 PRC. I'm not saying it. It's no there because I understand ballistics people. That's because the 6.5 PRC doesn't make it a better elk cartridge than a 6.5 Creedmoor. Because out to a certain range, the bullet's doing the same velocity, doing the same things. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It's not like all of a sudden I get a 6.5 PRC and that bullet, it's still 143 grain ELDX no matter what you do. Whether it's from a Creedmoor or this, you just need to know your effective ranges, right? You might give
Absolutely.
you just know that with that 143 grain ELDX, you're probably a 300, 350 yard gun for elk versus a 6.5 PRC might be a 550 yard gun for energy. But when it hits, it's going to leave such a small wound channel. It's not going to die good. And like, that's why you lose so many animals. These guys are getting 6.5 PRCs and talk to some guides. What do they shoot? They're going to shoot 7 Rem Mag or they're going to shoot 300 Win Mag, right? Or
Sevens or 30s.
7s or 30s because it hits with authority. It hits with, you're getting a heavier bullet, right? Especially if you're shooting, like, let's say you're shooting copper, like heaviest copper bullet, you're going to get to 127. You know what I mean? And like, you can basically essentially double that by going to a 30 caliber or a 7 millimeter in weight and have all that much more weight hitting that thing. And it just kills animals better.
So I chose to go with the 7 over a 30 for less recoil and less spin drift.
Yeah, and better ballistics. 100%.
Yep.
Like, I love, like, I was kind of just goading you a little bit in the beginning about the PRC. Like, I think PRC is a great cartridge. I just think that, in my personal opinion, I would rather have an Ackley because it does the same thing. The Ackley does the same thing as a 7 PRC or a 7 SOM. But
See,
to me, it feeds better.
I am a 7 SOM fanboy.
Are you 7 SOM? All
Oh
my
yeah,
friends are
I
too.
love them. Yeah.
That's the thing people don't understand. Like, that's what I mean by marketing, right? 7 SOM, if you guys don't know, it's a 7 PRC without all the horror marketing.
Pretty much.
It's what it is. And it actually, I think it has more ballistic. It's faster even, I think.
If you put it in a long action, I think you can get a little bit more velocity out of it.
Which, that's another thing that I'm like, wanting to shoot an Ackley is everyone shooting these guns are running such high BC bullets now. They're running them in long actions anyways. You're running in a long action anyways. Like, why not just shoot a, whatever. You guys understand that. But
it's the easy button.
It's the easy button, man. Just then can they make it longer? Don't have to worry. And plus, they feed a little bit better too. They just don't feed well on the short actions. They hit the feed ramp and it's just Again, just shoot a standard cartridge without that problem. So I do agree with you that I like a like my next gun's probably going to be another 280 Ackley. I imagine I might just rebarrel the one I have. I just don't know that I need a Magnum cartridge, and I can't use a can. So if I was going to use a can,
I forgot you live in Kami, California.
I do. So I mean, that's where I do see the benefit of a 6.5 PRC or a 7 PRC is now I can go down to they burn really well in like an 18-inch barrel.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to 18-inch barrel and now essentially have a 6.5 Creedmoor, because that's what you're getting now when you cut that
Yeah.
barrel
Oh
down.
yeah.
Every inch is like 50 feet per second or something like that, or 2 inches.
Roughly.
Two
Yes, sir.
inches is every 2 inches, 50 per second, 25 or something like that. So now you're basically neutering this thing down to a Creedmoor, but you can run a can and it's not, because you
And
put a
it's
can on
not
the, it's
interfering.
not interfering. Where if you put a can on a 24-inch barrel, dude, good luck getting it. I have a
You
24-inch
got an
barrel.
antenna sticking out.
I have a 24-inch barrel with a brake on it on my 280 Ackley, and dude, it's so annoying to carry. It's so annoying to carry. So I do want to build a short action folding stock gun, but it might just be 308. Honestly, I might just go 308 with it and just call it a day. Like it's just, I just know like my ranges, like it'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something a little bit hotter so I can be shot a little bit further. Maybe I do build it. Maybe I do build a uh, Creedmoor, or not a, maybe not a Creedmoor, a 6.5 PRC, so I can shoot a little bit longer with the gun and get out to 550 yards. The more I
Right.
shoot, I just feel like it's hard to find the situation, and I'm kind of one of these people who just realizes that you shouldn't prepare for the 5%. You know what I mean? Like it's like, for me, it's like, if you have a gun, just use what you got and go hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Buy tags, don't buy guns. And like, I get it, like guns are fun to buy, right? That's why I'm selling so many bipods right now. People love guns. People buying guns is fun. I think a lot of it is that people can't go hunting. I'm going to spend 100 days in the field this year. People can't do that, but what they can do is buy a gun and imagine going hunting.
Right. Go to
Well,
the range.
I'll tell you what. Once you buy a gun, I mean, what's this? What's this Seekins rifle? $3,200 for my kid, and then the scope was, I have a Burris here that they got. And it's like $2,000. I mean, you're $5,000 in.
Oh yeah.
Man, I'll tell
It's
you what. I
easy.
don't know what you guys are doing for a living, but I feel like with $5,000, you probably could pay your wages for a week and go on a hunt.
Right.
And I mean, let's say you're making $2,000 a week or $3,000 a week, over $2,000. I can get a tag for 500, $400 for a deer tag, and then have $1,000 to get there. I mean, don't buy the gun. Just shoot Grandpa's 30-06 and go hunting. You know what I mean? Like,
It really comes down to what the individual wants, because a lot of guys are on the craze right now of customization. So they don't want to look like everybody else. They want their custom, my gun's capable of shooting a mile, whether they actually do it or not. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and let me tell you, like I specifically bought that Woodstock 30-06 because it gets more attention than all these chassis guns now, because everyone and their mom's shooting a chassis gun.
Right.
So it's almost like more cool.
Nostalgic.
It's this, like, I'll tell you what, right now, like I post a video of me this racking that lever action at Turner's out here. Shout out to Turner's, about to be a Tricer dealer, so shop at Turner's, 32 stores in California and Arizona. But anyways, I got like 1,000 likes on this video and like so many comments, because it's like, that's awesome, right on, right on. You know what I mean? Like, it's if you want to be cool, man, like, if peeing your pants is cool, I'd be Miles Davis. Isn't that what she says on Billy Madison? Like, it's just like, do something, original. You don't have to buy everyone and their mom has those custom guns now. And if you want to buy one, like, I'm not trying to knock Burro Mountain Rifles. Like, buy one from Burro Mountain Rifles by all means. Like, if you have the money to buy a rifle, to have Burro Mountain Rifles build you a gun, I guarantee you come out of the box shooting half MOA, and you'll be able to make those mile-long shots. I just saying, if you don't have that money, you're better off, in my opinion, going on some hunts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that Ibex tag behind you, I think it's $3,000 to apply for it.
For a non-resident, I believe so.
Don't tell me you don't have $3,000 for a thing if you went and bought a gun and a scope, because everyone knows now. I mean, if you have any brains at all, your scope is going to be at least $1,500, $2,000.
Oh yeah, whatever you drop on the gun, you drop on the optic.
Yeah, it's kind of gotten to a point where guns have gotten so expensive now that you can get away with it. I do believe, I'm a big fan of the VX3. The VX3 is a pretty great scope for $600 or $700. Like, you can get away with that, but like the VX5 is obviously better, like $1,200 or $1,500. Some of the razors, I'm not the biggest Vortex fan, but their razors are really good. They're $1,500. You know what I mean? Like Night Force says, you're going to be looking somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 for a scope that's going to last you forever.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's not just the gun. Like, anyone can go buy a freaking gun for $1,000. It's just, you got to put another $1,000 into the scope.
Yep.
So, man, hopefully everyone likes this podcast. I'm just on a rant because I got freaking hit by an illegal immigrant and they're trying to sue me. So I'm just going hard over here. I should tell that story. Everyone probably wants to hear it. I should do that one on a separate podcast, like why this girl's burnt me. But go ahead.
So back to the 280 Ackley. How much powder are you throwing behind that bullet?
Golly, I'd have to pull it out of the box.
because that's
Like
something that
40,
I'm
it's like 47 or 48 grains. I'm thinking
see
off the top of
that
my head.
that's what I'm seeing is a lot of these cartridges are more efficient than others, and so the
Yeah.
reloading guys will lean one way or another because of that.
Yeah. I think it's like in my mind, I'm thinking it's like 40. It's not in the 50. It's probably 47 or 48 grains of RL26. Because with
Yeah.
modern propellants, you can really push these things.
Oh yeah.
You can really push these bullets really fast. And that's why I'm saying, like, you can get a 280 Ackley or a 30-06 to do what a 3000 Win Mag was doing 20 years ago
Oh yeah.
with reloading now. Like, and with a higher BC bullet, that's
The
as
modern
people don't
bullets and modern
understand. Like,
powder.
you could take a modern 180 grain. What you need to understand is like an 180 grain bullet and push it 2,700 feet per second, and at 500 yards, it's going faster than a 130 grain bullet that was going 3,200 feet per second because of
Because
ballistic.
of the ballistic, yep, the coefficients.
So there's a ballistic coefficient. So like that's why I'm a big heavy for caliber guy. I love heavy for caliber bullets. They just hit with authority,
Yeah.
and if I can, like I ended up going my Ot 6 a little bit lighter bullet, 150 bullet, which is not a light bullet. It's just like probably the average bullet for an Ot 6. I tried to go 180. I just couldn't get the velocities I wanted out of it for it to perform. So with modern propellants and modern bullets, you can make any cartridge you have do that. And honestly, you probably can go buy it over the counter and use it too. Some of this Hornady stuff's pretty awesome. Some of this Barn stuff is pretty awesome. You can go buy it. Let me pick your brain on something. I posted a thing and it's sitting over here. I had a box of Hornady ELDM's match bullets
Uh huh.
next to all my Barnes bullets, and I said, "This is a match bullet for shooting targets. This is a hunting bullet for shooting animals." I am a big believer in not only copper Barnes bullets, which I'm a big fan of Barnes. No, everyone knows that. I'm friends with the guys. I use their stuff. I've used it for 12 years. Um, but I also believe that you should shoot an ELDX over an ELDM, or you should shoot an AccuBond or even a partition over a burger. Now we're gonna get you going. Tell me why I am wrong. Why is it that all the ballisticians at Hornady are liars on their boxes of what's hunting and what's match bullets? Because I'll tell you what, I said a post like this, and it has like there people are still fighting. There's probably 200 comments on it now. I just did it to piss people off because like, I didn't care. I was just like, just let them do it. Why are they lying to us, Kevin? Like you're shooting match bullets. Like why are you shooting match bullets? Like obviously they're lying to us.
So my personal opinion, I shoot what the gun likes.
Okay.
If the gun's gonna perform, I'm gonna perform. The
Okay.
bullet is going to kill. If you do a good shot on an animal, shot placement is key. You're gonna kill that animal. I know that there's certain so like the ELDMs versus the ELDXs. The ELDXs are supposed to have like a little recess so they expand better. I've
They
killed the
hold they
shit
hold
out of animals.
they hold together better too. They're supposed to
The
hold together. They,
jacket thickness definitely comes into
the
play.
jacket thickness they hold together better. They don't explode like a EL. Like trust me, a match bullet. I've killed out with match bullets. I'm not like bragging about this, but like when it performs, it's spectacular. It's like there's
Well,
no exit wound and the thing just drops.
I I'm not in the business of chasing wounded animals, so I
Yep.
center punch through the shoulder. That's what I aim for.
I love that same shot, dude. Same shot, and that's why I shoot copper bullets. You put one like I shot a deer this year through the shoulder. It just dropped in his tracks, and it just. I like that little high shoulder, almost that high shoulder shot, like right through the scapula on both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
It just freaking, dude. You hit a deer there, not going anywhere.
Oh, that's lights out.
And I like a full pass through with my bullets as well. Which on a deer you're gonna pretty much pass through anyways, but on elk, maybe not so much. So that's why I like the solid core bullets, the copper bullets, the at hunting ranges doesn't matter, or the like the AccuBonds or even the LDXs.
I'm just a fan of anchoring an animal. I don't care if it passes through or stays in it, as long as that animal drops and I don't have to chase it.
Yep.
That's what I'm a fan of.
Now, are you shooting with a burger? Are you shooting the elite hunters, or are you shooting the match bullet?
The VLD hunters.
The VLD hunters. You are shooting the hunting bullet, so it does have a little bit thicker jacket, does hold together.
Yeah.
So you are shooting, so I can't really knock you on that. Like you're not shooting their match bullets. You're shooting their
No.
like my firearm, shooting their match bullets, which at honestly a 220 grain bullet, no matter what you friggin' hit, it's gonna friggin' without a 30 nozzler.
Does it really matter?
It did explode in the shoulder and you did lose an elk over. I'm telling you right now, because people don't realize is yes, that 7 PRC is awesome. Not 7 PRC, that 28 nozzler is awesome. But when you shoot that 180 grain bullet at 60 yards into an elk shoulder, it might just blow up.
It possibly could. I've
It's
never
not gonna.
shot an animal that close before.
I shot a deer at 20 yards this year
Golly.
with my 30-06. Died. Killed that sucker. I actually did shoot him twice, but he was dead. I just shot him again because I didn't want him. When he was on camera and he was just stumbling, I gave him one more. I'm a big believer in like shoot them till they're down.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And plus, I've just seen too much stuff. I've had deer get up 45 minutes later as I walked up to him and run.
And run. Yep.
Yeah, it's like I had to shoot him up the butt after that one.
Texas heart shot.
I gave it to him. He almost went into a canyon. I'm like, you're getting it, dude. And it's freak. It was. I hate cleaning those things like that. I've had a couple of them like that. I was just like, ugh. Anyways, so you are shooting the Burger. It is their ELDM, or not ELDM. I'm sorry. It is their Elite Hunter, which essentially is still of all the match bullets. I would say theirs are really, really matchy. Even when I say all the hunting bullets, I should say, even their hunting bullet is essentially a match bullet.
Yeah.
It's like I would compare their Elite Hunter to the ELDM almost. Like it's not. I wouldn't consider it a hunting bullet. I'm sorry. They're like, I like you guys. I shoot the snot out of your stuff. Like, don't take that the wrong way. But in my mind, I know for a fact that if I put a AccuBond or a Barnes, even an ELDX, not my favorite bullet, I do shoot them in some guns, into a shoulder of an animal, I know for a fact it's going to go through, and it's going to probably go through the other side of that animal at ethical hunting ranges. So, are you shooting match bullets in almost all your guns? Are you shooting Burgers in almost all your guns? Or are you trying some of the heavier, like the AccuBonds and ELDXs and stuff?
So, like I said, I shoot whatever the gun likes, and if I have a Creedmoor, a 6.5 Creedmoor that I shoot the 143 ELDXs through, because for whatever reason it likes it better than like the 140 Burgers.
I pictured you as a straight man.
So everybody hates on the Creedmoor.
I'm shooting Creedmoor this year too, a little bit.
I volunteer and help with some hunts that take special need kids out, and so a lot of the times.
Now.
No, you're fine.
Oh, we did. We sponsored. We gave you some stuff for that.
Yep,
That's
you
right.
did.
That's right. Yeah, yep. I'm stoked on that. That's right. I forgot about that.
And so I like to have the smaller caliber so that way we can take the kids out. And my wife shoots a Creedmoor, and then I have a 6.5 Som, and it likes the 153 A-tips, and I hunt with those.
The aluminum A-tips?
Yes. We've killed oryx, elk, deer.
Definitely a match bullet.
It is absolutely a match bullet, but it hammers. Look at the energy with that thing. Out of a 20-inch barrel, we're pushing at 2950. Yeah, and it's killed everything that we've hit with it.
See, so now I would absolutely never do that. Like, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just like, I would rather I would be like, okay, what other bullet can I get to shoot? I have A-tips for my 260 Remington. I shoot in that bullet. I think I shoot a 124 grain hammer in a 127 LRX out of that gun. But I would, and I have, I think, the 138 A-tips for that gun. You must have a real that thing must be twisting really fast.
1-7.
1-7. I think I'm 1-8 in that gun. All my new guns are. I'm a big believer you can't over twist the bullet. So like my new guns are all like 1-7s now. Let's go 1-7. Like my new Creedmoor's 1-7 that I built for PRS or for NRL. But I would be like, man, I would rather shoot if I'm gonna go, like me, Drew. An Oryx tag is so hard to draw for me in New Mexico. If I do an Oryx tag, the last bullet I'm going to shoot is a 153 A-tip match bullet at a heavy-boned African animal that I know for a fact an ELDX or an AccuBond is going to fully penetrate, or an LRX is going to fully penetrate. Honestly, I wouldn't shoot a 6.5 either at
right.
If I was going elk hunting, if I drew an elk tag in New Mexico, which I'm not even putting in for rifle tags over there. I put in for all archery because the rifle is impossible to draw. The last gun I'm going to carry with me is a 6.5 Creedmoor. Why bring a knife to a gunfight? Or a 6.5, even a 6.5 Som? Why are you bringing it? Why aren't you shooting a 7 Som at those things? Why are you shooting a 6.5 Som at these animals with 153 grain A-tip? Why aren't you shooting that 180 grain Som at these elk? Why even do that?
Recoil reduction. We're sending the heaviest bullet with the less recoil that we can manage for these kids.
Oh, the kids are shooting them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're not shooting them. I'm sorry. Okay, that makes more sense. Yes, if my son drew an elk tag this year, he'd be shooting 6.5 Creedmoor. Yes. I thought you were saying you were shooting you personally was like, I'm doing oryx tag. I'm going to go hunt with my 6.5. Okay.
Well, I did kill my oryx with my 6.5 PRC, but that was because that was the only rifle that I had on hand that I built.
Okay.
Everything else someone else had built, and I wanted to kill one with the rifle that I built.
So
And
you use that gun.
yeah, so I shot mine at about 300 yards, put 2 rounds in her, dead in her tracks.
So I guess we should rephrase these questions then. Now I'm realizing it's kids shooting this 150 grain A tip. Again, I would, someone who I am, I guess they can't recoil. I'd be shooting 308 with these kids. But I digress on that. How far are they shooting these things? You're probably getting them real close.
Yeah, we get as close as possible.
I mean, you're
The
talking like 100-yard shots on these things. It doesn't really matter
the
what bullet you're shooting them with.
the last bull that we killed with that 6.5 SOM was probably 140 yards.
And this kid's locked into a tripod, I imagine, and just ready.
We actually had a mobility tag, so he was
Okay.
able to shoot out the window.
Okay, so it's
So it was pretty
like
awesome.
it was pretty awesome. So it's real close shots. You're not worried about it because like I'm looking at it like, man, like I know for a fact that I might be taking this shot at 400 yards on this elk. I'm definitely wanting to send a 7mm or 300 caliber bullet at this animal because I know for a fact, even if it's marginal, it's going to get that penetration, have that impact, have that, what I need to get it done on this animal.
So I have several hunting rifles that I kind of pick and choose from depending on what kind of hunt it is. If I don't want to pack a lot of weight, I'll go with a lighter rifle, carbon fiber. Or if it's going to be mostly a road hunt where we're doing a bunch of glassing, I'll pack one of the heavier guns that I know will just flat out shoot.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. So my kid, like I said, Seekins we're doing some trading. They're building me a gun right now for him. It's like a 5-pound 6.5 Creedmoor,
Yeah.
folding stock. But honestly, depending on how he shoots, I might carry my 13-pound NRL gun for him because I know he can shoot that, and it's much more easy for him to shoot. It's just there's no recoil. It's heavy. It gets it done because that little 5-pound gun, even with the 6.5 Creedmoor, is going to have.
It's gonna have a buck.
It's going to have some kick with those 100 and I'm probably 127 LRXs out of it. I imagine whatever I get from Barnes, probably the one. I have some over there, some 120s as well. It's going to have some kick to it, and I might bump most of my heavy rifles, carry it for him, and depends. I don't know. If we're backpacking in Oregon, I probably won't. We'll see. Depends on how he shoots. I just know for a fact that I put my kid behind a heavy gun, it's easier for him to shoot than him shooting behind a light gun.
Oh, that's anybody.
Yep, 100%. There's a reason why Brady Miller carries a 14-pound rifle around, and it's because he's crazy and because he likes to be accurate. So, all right, so shooting A-tip, so you don't have an issue sending an A-tip to the shoulder of an elk?
I do not.
So at what range do you not? Like, let's say your elk's at 400 yards. Are you taking a shoulder shot on an elk with a 153 grain A-tip?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
And it's going to kill it dead.
Man, I would never take that shot. Because I'm like, there's too much stuff to go wrong to me. You might get one lung or you might blow up in the shoulder and get barely any lungs.
Huh?
Yeah, and you're just like, you're confident, huh?
Proof is in the pudding.
It is. It really is. Like, it's proof is in all the kill shots, and I get it. I mean, you trust me. You should see. I put that video out of the match bullets, and you don't know how many people you would have thought that I insulted their mother.
Right.
Were sending me videos of animals they killed and all this stuff. And it's just an opinion. Like, whatever works for you. Like, you kill animals. It rubs people the wrong way. I make fun of Creedmoor, and they're also going to get, a video of a guy killing a moose with a Creedmoor with one shot. And, whatever. It is what it is. Like, to each their own.
Everybody has an opinion. I try to respect them. If that's your thing, go with it. If it's not, I'm going to talk shit about you behind your back. So
yeah, good. Just knock that guy at Tricer's an a-hole. No, and like I know you're a good shot too as well, right? You don't build guns and not be a good shot. For me, it's like if let's say I drew a Gila bull tag this year. There's no chance in heck I'm bringing a 6.5 anything on that hunt.
Yeah.
It's going to be either a 30-06, 300 Win Mag, or a 280 Ackley or 7mm, something like that, because I just know that those are going to hit with more authority, and I know that it might be a once in a lifetime tag at 1% or 2% to draw it, and I want to make sure when I shoot that animal, I can shoot that animal, or if that animal's quartering away from me, or quartering, even worse, quartering to me, which that's where you really run into trouble when your animal quartering to you and you're trying to shoot it, get through all that front shoulder on an elk. The last cartridge I'm going to bring is a 6.5 anything on a once in a lifetime tag.
So that's I had a 16A rifle tag this past
Oh,
fall.
did you? I put in for
Yeah,
16A. This will come out. Yeah, I can say it now. I put in for it. I think the draw is tomorrow or something, but I've already did mine
the
like a month.
deadline is the
Yeah,
results will come out in a month or so. But
definitely.
yeah, I drew that tag this past season and killed a real nice bull with my trusty 28 Nosler. And that's just one of those things. I put it in a folding chassis so that way I could make it through all the trees with that suppressor on there and not have
Yep.
a radio antenna hanging off my back.
Yep.
And shot it 550 yards off of a tripod.
Really.
It was that was actually the herd bull, and we got into him bugling, which is very rare for me to get into him bugling in rifle season, and we're able to get a shot across the meadow and was able to get him down at 550
And you're shooting that gun. You're shooting the 180 grain
burgers VLDs.
VLDs. Yeah, yeah, VLD. I think I'm shooting the. Is the VLD EH, the VLD Elite Hunter? Is that what it is? I think I'm shooting the same bullet. I'm shooting the 175s in my
Oh,
gun.
okay.
Yeah, same thing. I moved to a different bullet in that gun, but I actually might go to ELDX in that gun. But yeah, that's the gun that can do it. That's the gun that I know
Yeah.
all day long, and I know the same. Even with my Accolade, I'd take that shot. Right? I know
Oh
for a
yeah.
fact. I mean, here with authority, where let's say you have a 6.5 Creedmoor
Oh
that elks at 550 yards.
no, sir. I
You
wouldn't have
think
taken that
you
shot.
would take that shot, right?
Mm-mm.
All right. Even though a Creedmoor can do it, you're probably going to not get, you get very little penetration. You're probably going to be going like I don't even know 1,500 feet per second at that range.
You're
The
gonna be
bullet's not
right
going
on
to
the
floor,
threshold.
and you're not going to fully pass through. That's again why I like pass through, right? So you did shoot that animal. Did you get a full pass through with that at like, that range or no?
I did not.
You didn't, right? Because those bullets aren't meant for that. But it
Mm-hmm.
probably dropped in his tracks if you hit it right.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why I do like the copper bullets and the like heavy for caliber bonded bullets. Is at 550 yards, I shoot an elk. It's likely I'm going to fully pass through, and there's going to be a blood trail. Now the argument is, if I was shooting a burger, it would have been dead. I wouldn't have had a blood trail because I wouldn't have to track them.
Right.
If I shot it right, I just know me personally and the way hunting is. At 550 yards, a lot of things don't go right. There's a lot of drift going on, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
things going wrong, and I know if I hit them with a full, a bonded bullet, it's going to go all the way through. I'm going to get that blood trail.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't care about blood trails. You care about killing,
Anchoring them.
anchoring them. So, yeah, I hope everybody's pissed off at me now for just griping about bullets for an hour, and I hope this was beneficial. I want to go into Kevin. I want to talk about your rifles, what you guys are doing differently, how long you guys have been in business, and talk about Burro Mountain Rifles.
So I started building rifles probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, just tinkering. And I say building with a lot of slack, right? It's tinkering, putting ARs together, just doing stuff like that. And I met a guy that was building custom rifles out of Thatcher, Arizona. I don't know if you've ever heard of Western Precision, Brent Jacobs.
Yeah.
And he was very instrumental in helping me get started. And he knew that I had a passion for rifles, and I was throwing a bunch of money at him because I like doing different builds. And he kind of convinced me that I ought to take off on my own. And so about a year ago, I opened shop and trying to keep it to where a good custom rifle doesn't have to break the bank. Most of the rifles I build are in carbon fiber stocks or chassis, trying to keep them lightweight, and the
Okay.
majority of them are either heavily fluted or carbon wrap barrels.
Are you doing XLR chassis? What are you doing?
XLR, MDT. There's a small company out of Albuquerque called S2 Delta. We've used some of theirs, and majority of those are all folders. And out here, that's kind of we run suppressors out here, so the folding stocks are kind of big for me, because you can just drop it in your pack and not have that antenna sticking out over your head.
I'm calling it. You guys are going to lose suppressors because your guys' government is like on a freaking terror for getting rid of your guys' guns down there.
Golly, dude.
You guys are going to lose suppressors. Watch. You're going to lose them in the next 5 years because you guys are just hate guns. You guys, I don't understand how you're a blue state. It's like the most red state I've ever been to in my life.
We're controlled by the cities.
And the cities are getting you, right? Albuquerque's getting you, right? And it's just like, I don't understand it, man. You can't even, I can't carry a handgun down there. You can't like a non-resident cannot conceal carry. I don't think you guys can conceal carry anymore, can you?
Yeah, we can
You
still
can.
conceal
I
carry.
know that I know there's no reciprocity for any state now in New Mexico.
So New Mexico was open carry for a long time, but the governor that we have in office right now, she has her own ideas on the Second Amendment, and so
Yeah, they
I
got
don't.
rid of the open carry, and then they made it
Yeah,
where non-residents cannot carry at all in
really,
your state. Yep,
I
cannot.
did not know that.
I can't conceal carry when I go there. That's one of those try by 12 things, carry by 6 things over there now.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I
you
know
guys
that
hate guns, so everyone makes fun of California, but you watch New Mexico. You're next. Watch those
I hate
suppressors
to
go
say it,
away.
but I think you're right. I don't understand these people. Just they're too emotional and not logical, and they come up with these stupid laws and stupid rules. And
You know what we call that, right?
what's that?
Libtards.
Yep, yes sir.
They're too liberal, man. They just
Oh,
don't.
absolutely.
They watch one James Bond movie and they think that every suppressor goes. Psh, psh, psh,
Yep.
psh, psh, psh.
That's what I don't understand is that it's still a gunshot.
It's still
Uh,
a gunshot, man. And like, my God, you know how much my ears would appreciate a suppressor.
oh yeah.
I swear, I wear earplugs all the time around my neck, and half the time I don't put them in when my kid shoots and my ears get blown out. Like,
Hmm.
my left ear is going out. Like, I'm not hearing already. Like, I try. I'm so good about having plugs, and dude, it's like, gosh, it would be so nice to have a suppressor. Like, but whatever, man. Like, it's just, yeah, California. They're morons. They don't know anything. They think, they think every gun is. They think guns kill people.
Yeah, and spoons made me fat.
Guns kill people. Swim made me fat. One of my favorite
Yeah.
T-shirts. So you're making these guns. You're making these lightweight folders. I really am a fan of the XLR chassis.
Yep.
I don't have one, but my next one will probably be on an XLR. I met with the owner, and like, I've got to see a lot of their chassis on some other guns, and they have like some really slick carbon fiber handles now.
Hmm.
And the cool thing is, which is so common sense, I'm left-handed, is their chassis are ambidextrous.
They're ambidextrous.
You
Yep.
can literally just like move a little filler to the left or the right side, and you're done.
Yeah, oh
It's
yeah.
so like, I don't understand why everyone doesn't do that. Like, it's when you're machining a chassis, like, why not just
Why not?
shit like
Yeah.
MDT, catch on, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You're making these guns. How long have you been making guns yourself for people?
I started machining about a year ago,
Okay, so you guys are newer. You're
and
just okay.
new on the market. I've been playing around for a long time. I work in a mine, so I've got to play with lathes and mills and stuff there. And so then I just started teaching myself, just getting round stock and cutting threads and learning how to do that, and then cutting chambers and whatnot, and just kind of took it and ran with it.
So are you still because there's an argument we had now for pre-chambered stuff and pre-fit stuff. Are you still using like a Defiance action, doing your own threading and doing your own reaming, like your own reaming dies and doing that?
Yes, I am still doing that. If I had $1 million to buy one of those CNC lathes, I would absolutely do that, but I'm just not there yet.
So,
The
but I'm
pre-fit
saying,
stuff is awesome.
yeah, why not? Like, why not? Like, what is your argument from just buying a pre-fit proof or carbon 6 or um, prefer barrel blanks and putting your guns together versus you doing it yourself? Do you feel like you're more accurate?
Honestly, I would say it's tit for tat. I've shot pre-fits next to my custom guns, and that I've done with the hand lathe, and
Mhm.
they shot tit for tat. There's going to be a profit margin by doing it that way, buying
Buying
a
the
blank
blank.
versus buying a pre-fit.
I got you. Okay,
There
that
will be
makes sense.
in the long run. I
You
mean,
could buy a blank for $400, pre-fit it yourself, and sell it for $900. Or if you buy a pre-fit for $900, it's nine
exactly.
hundred
Yep.
bucks.
Yep.
So you can make $400. That makes sense. That's a good argument for that for sure.
There's also the time versus money thing, where if I'm in a pinch, then I could possibly order a pre-fit and just slap it together for the time versus money argument.
Are
So
you
there's
running? Are because I am a big fan of these like terminus actions now.
mhm.
I've built 2 guns myself now using the terminus action. They're heavy. Are you due to any of those quick change barrel actions yet? Because I think that's where we're going. I think that you're going to see like Seekins is doing a quick change barrel on their guns now. I
Mhm.
think the whole industry is going to start going to this quick change.
So I'm very familiar with that. A friend of mine actually does his builds on that, so I've stayed away from the terminus action because I don't want to compete with him. But I do run the West Texas Ordnance quick lugs, where you can actually install those on any action and turn them into a quick lug.
Oh, okay.
system, and so I have that on my competition gun, and I have 2 bolts. I have a standard and a magnum, and I have barrels and 7 SAUM, 6.5 PRC, 25 Creedmoor, and 6 GT out of the same gun, just different barrels.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking honestly that I'm probably for my next gun because I have two of these terminus actions. Well, I will if they can ever freaking get my action done. The second one, um, like I right now I'm changing between Creedmoor and Dasher between both my.
Hmm.
I just have different stocks, different barrels. It literally is, you guys. If you're listening to this, 2 Allen screws. You unthread it, put it in there. So I'm
Yep.
thinking the same thing you said. I can go buy a it's a short action. I can go buy a Magnum bolt and put a 7 PRC together for really cheap. I mean, I can go
Oh
buy
yeah.
an XLR chassis for probably $800, buy a prefit barrel for it, and then put it together and buy the bolt. And where these things really are coming into play, people who are listening to this, is in the NRL space and the Dasher space, and the PRS space, where we're shooting thousands of rounds and
Yep.
having to change barrels out,
And swap barrels
and
out.
you have to swap barrels out, and now you can buy a second barrel while you buy your gun,
Hmm.
and then versus before, you'd have to order a barrel, bring it to the gunsmith, have them ream it, do the whole thing, and put it together for you. And now you could do it literally like
Yourself.
I see guys show up, throw a new barrel on, proof their gun at there, and go shoot a match.
Yeah.
So,
I ran some tests with hand tight versus torque down, and my rifle shot exactly the same hand
yeah,
tight versus torqued.
I just tightened it down my hand. I didn't torque it at
Yeah,
all. I just tightened it down,
exactly.
and it's like two small set screws. I'm like, this is it. Like it's
Yeah.
just two little like set screws. That's it, and it works. So, are you using preferred barrel blanks?
I'm using preferred, some carbon six,
Mm-hmm.
some shillings, and some Western Precision, which I believe are shillings that he wraps himself.
So I use preferred and carbon six,
Yep.
and I use proof. But the problem with proof is now it just takes so long to get anything
So
out of them.
long. Yeah.
The problem is, you guys listening to this, is that whatever. I'm not bashing proof. Proof is making barrels for everyone now.
Hmm.
Making barrels for Savage. They're making barrels for Weatherby.
Hmm.
So like, dude, it took me 8 months to get my last barrel from him, and I'm like, never again. And then Dylan from Preferred Barrel Blanks, I need to get him on the podcast. I freaking been blowing this guy off.
Those
I'm
guys are awesome.
Dude, he got me a barrel within 5 weeks. I have his number, and I took it to the range, put the gun together myself like a freaking redneck, and put 5 bullets into the same hole. And I was like, holy crap.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so if you guys need a barrel, like shout out to Preferred Barrel Blanks, go buy a Preferred Barrel Blanks from Dylan, even if it's non-chambered. Then bring it over to Kevin. Kevin can freaking chamber it for you and thread it for you, and you can put it on or
Yeah.
whatever. The issue for me with like the stuff like if I do it the way the traditional way, is you need no go gauges, you need head spacing. There's a lot
Hmm.
involved. When you just do the pre-fit stuff, it's
Oh,
like
you just slap it together.
it's freaking retard proof.
Yeah.
You just slap it together and go shooting, and it just
Hmm.
works. So the whole reason going that is I do think, and I want your opinion on this. I think it's where we're going. Do you think
Oh,
as an industry?
absolutely.
You think
That's the wave
as
of the future.
I think as an industry, you're going to see this happen because now my kids, like I said, my kid's gun from Seekins can be it comes with a 6.5 Creedmoor. I can go buy a Seekins barrel for that for I think $700 carbon fiber and change it to a 308 or a 7 millimeter 8 or anything else. Or I can buy a
So,
new bolt and put a 6.5, make it a 6.5 PRC when it gets older, and it might cost me $1,300 to do that, and I have a whole nother gun.
oh, absolutely. And then you don't have to buy glass because you can use the same optic.
Same optic, and that's the
Hmm.
biggest argument, right? Is like you could just go and switch around. Like I'll probably carry I have this Zeiss long range scope for that gun, but I'm probably going to talk to XLR and get a chassis from them and do that for this year. Maybe I don't know. I'm going to shoot a 6.5 PR, or it's maybe probably 7 PRC, a 7 PRC and a 3030. Sorry guys, two extreme differences, but like I can do that in a weekend,
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do
you
it
know,
in the same day.
same day. You know what I mean? I can go a couple hours. You
Yeah.
take it together. Not even a couple hours, an hour. You got to pull it out of the chassis. You got to put it together. It's literally 2 action screws. That's it. Put it together. If you're leaving the same stock on it or the same scope on it, it's honestly gonna be pretty close when you go to shoot at the range. You can go to 100 yards. You might be 4 inches
Oh,
off or five
you'll
inches
be on
off.
paper.
You'll be on paper.
Yeah.
You just got to dial it in for that bullet and that cartridge, but it's so easy to do.
So one of the reasons why I got started is that we don't have a gunsmith out here. We had
Really?
an old timer that retired, and nobody else, because we're kind of a forgotten corner of New Mexico, right? We're down by the boot hill, and so nobody does this down here. And so I started doing it, and man, I got all kinds of business that just drummed up. I was not expecting this much traffic.
So yeah, and you know what? Like, yes, I am a little ambitious. I'm doing a lot of stuff myself now. There is something to be said, you guys, about going to Kevin and Burro Mountain Rifles and getting a gun that's done. Are you guys loading for them as well? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yep. We just
Really?
started that.
So
Yep.
you could buy. See, that's where like my partners, like I'm telling you right now, they would buy a gun from you all day long. If I told them like, here's a list of parts to buy, and then we got to develop a load, no, no way. Like, and plus, not to mention like my reloading stuff. I've got $10,000 reloading stuff here sitting here now, right? And all these different dies. So I could buy a gun from you right now with ammo.
With ammo.
Really?
Yep.
And
That's,
it's been shot.
and it's been fired. It'll be zeroed, ready to rock.
What am I paying for that? $7,000, $8,000?
Oh no. With an optics package and everything, you're looking at, depending on components, of course, you're looking at probably 5,500 out the door.
With an optic. Is that like a VX5 on there, I imagine?
Depending on what you want, yeah. We're
Really?
running a lot of NX8s.
Oh, no, Night Force. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You like those heavy stuff, those heavy scopes.
I run a Mark V on my hunting rifle, so yeah, I like to punish myself.
Night Force is awesome, by the way. I'm just bashing everybody. I'm just salty today. Night Force makes phenomenal scopes, by the way. I just wish they'd catch on to make them. If they can make it like in that like 20 to 22 ounce range, like everyone else is doing now, I'd be probably running Night Force on most of my guns. They make a phenomenal. They're so good at optics. They're just so battle tested, literally, right? They're so
Oh
bulletproof.
yeah, literally.
They're like literally like it's just an awesome gun. I'm actually probably gonna run. I have this big Zeiss. I'll probably run on one of my guns this year. But that's impressive. So like if you're listening to this right now, you could buy a gun from Burro Mountain Rifles for $5,500, custom built to your specs with the ammo, probably a box of ammo. I imagine you got to buy more ammo after that.
Oh, absolutely.
Done, ready to go. That's a steal. That is a steal, and I think you should. That's unheard of. That's a phenomenal price, man.
That's why I try to do everything myself instead of buying the prefits and whatnot, is to try to keep the price point down. Now, granted, if you start getting bougie with components, that price goes up considerably.
Yeah.
But you can keep a solid action with a good barrel and good components and stay in that range.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that's shocking to me, the price, because that's basically the high end Weatherby, the high end Seekins, which you don't get to customize for the same. You're basically you are getting a fully custom rifle from Burro Mountain Rifles for $5,500 with a scope on it, done, dialed, ready to go. It shows up at your house. Go shoot it once to make sure you're on paper and go hunting.
Yep.
With a dope chart, I imagine, and everything.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome. Like I might have to do this. I might have to get a Burro Mountain Rifle this year for one of my partners or something.
Oh yeah. Shout out to my partner Jordan Staley. He's the Real Bearded Hunter on Instagram. He is OCD when it comes to reloading. I mean, this guy, he's like a wizard. I mean, we get in arguments all the time because I think he is too precise. But he goes through, does all the load development. He'll build a chart, component level, all the way up to your dope chart. I mean, everything.
You're like, Jordan, you just burned that barrel out. Just freaking give him a gun. Dude.
Just give him a gun.
How many rounds you gonna shoot through that thing, Jordan?
Exactly.
So now back to, let's bring this full circle. Can I ask you to load me a hunting bullet over a match bullet?
Oh, absolutely. Whatever you want.
I just like to call them hunting bullets. This is pretty off. So I can say, hey man, I want a gun. I want a 7 PRC, and I want it shooting 178 grain ELDXs. I think that's a common bullet for that gun, or 173 grain ELDX, something like that. And you could do that and make it shoot for me. And you might say, hey, we might be better off with an AccuBond. It might be a little better. But I could tell you, I want one of these 3 bullets.
Yep.
One of these said hunting bullets, and you could do that for me.
Absolutely.
That is unheard of. That is awesome. Dude, Kevin for Burro Mountain Rifles, I'm a fan. I want people to go and buy a rifle. I'm going to be sending people, like, there's so many guys reach out to me all the time, and they're like, what gun should I buy? And I'm like, I honestly, no offense, I try and steer them away from custom rifles because it's going to be $8,000. But if you could build them a rifle to their specs with, I understand it could go up to $8,000. You could spend $8,000.
Oh, it's easy to nowadays.
It's easy to spend $8,000. It's easy to do stuff. But like for me, honestly, if I was building a custom gun, it probably wouldn't even be carbon fiber. It'd probably be a fluted barrel
Yeah.
steel because you're not really gaining any accuracy out of it. It'd be lighter.
Slider. Yep.
It's lighter. People don't understand that. They just think it has to be carbon. Carbon's lighter. It's still a steel barrel, guys. I'd probably do a steel fluted barrel. It'd probably be a 20-inch barrel. I'm going to build one with you right now. Ready? I'm going to build. If I'm building you a gun, if you're building me a gun, I'd be like, Kevin, I want an XLR chassis with a folder with a carbon fiber hand grip. I want a short action Defiance. Are you running Defiance actions?
Yeah. I've done builds on Defiance.
And I would say Brux, but I don't want to do Brux because you don't do Brux. I want a preferred barrel blanks 20-inch barrel threaded with a muzzle brake. You can do that for me right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, this is cool. And then what triggers you running in those things?
I've been running mostly trigger techs, but
Yeah.
since the what do you call it, the Canada crap going on, what do you call that?
Tariffs.
The tariffs. Since the tariffs have gone into effect, I might start switching around and trying out a couple more American-made ones.
I should talk to you about which one I'm running. I can't remember the running my gun because I know we were using. Gosh, it's not Timney. My gosh, what's the name of that trigger company that went out of business? There's a brand that everyone loves, and now they went out of business, and you can't get them. And like you're paying triple for their triggers to get them.
Mm-hmm.
I was running them, and now I can't run them because you can't get them anymore. I'm just too cheap to do it. So that's cool. Trigger techs in there, and I mean all the triggers are good. Honestly, it's probably what $300 trigger or something like that. 200.
The diamonds are, but for hunting, you don't need anything more than a special.
A special, and you can get that thing down to like 2 pounds for me.
You can get it down to about a pound with a special.
See,
I don't know the exacts. I'd have to look at it, but I think it's around a pound.
I'm a 2 pound guy. Brady Miller is running his at like 0.6 ounces or something like that, like 9 ounces. And I'm like, that's too light. That's too light.
I do that for my competition gun, but for hunting, I'm not comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable with it at all. So I think I'm a kind of a 2 pound guy, 1.5 to 2 pound guy for hunting rifles. It's really good.
Yeah.
So man, dude, Burro Mountain Rifles, you guys get a complete gun dialed with ammo, and you give them the load data too if they want to load themselves.
Absolutely.
So give them the load data so you can get it and be like, okay, we need to use whatever, this much 4350. This is your off the lands. This is your everything. This is your overall length. This is the primers. Man, that's cool.
That's part of the package.
Man, that's cool. I'm gonna have my father-in-law talk to you. I know he wants to build a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have him talk to you because will you build an NRL gun?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we do is we shoot teams. Myself and Staley, we shoot the NRL teams, or NRL Hunter teams. Yep.
Oh yeah, have you seen my new NRL tripods?
Yes, I have. Those are awesome.
They're bad at the bone. We might do some trading a little bit here.
Yes, sir.
Get some stuff over there to you. Those tripods are bad at the bone, dude. Chad doesn't have one yet. You'll see Chad's, I'm sure. But yeah, I'll come out there with this official tripod of NRL Hunter series. Maybe I'll fly over there sometime and shoot with you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It'd be fun, even to shoot together. But let me. I'm probably getting my father-in-law talking to you guys. I know he wants to build a gun. I have your number, Kevin. I might be like, hey, Farnell's interested. What's it going to take to get him an NRL gun with a? He probably would want a quick change action though, which they make a couple different ones out there. So we might have to cut in on your friend's business a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to get him a quick change because I don't think I want to build another competition gun without a quick. Or you can do the lug one out of Texas, whatever you got. I don't think I want a competition gun that's not quick change anymore. It's just too simple to change.
Yeah, it's super simple.
Plus, you can go and change it out and put it in a freaking put a heavy, dasher bullet on there or something, dasher and shoot for PRS as well. But, man, Burro Mountain Rifles, you guys, where do you find you, Kevin? Where are you guys at?
We're located in Silver City, New Mexico.
Okay.
So we're right on the foothills of the Gila, out here in the heart of the Burro Mountains.
Oh, that makes sense. Now, where do we find you on Instagram? That's what I really meant.
Sorry.
I don't know where your house is. I mean, we can go visit you if you want.
Sorry. My Instagram is burro_mtn_rifles.
Nice. And then you got a website? We
do. It's just kind of a rough draft right now. We've launched it, but it's not really functional at the moment. But it's Burro Mountain. Mountain is mtnrifles.com. So
the best way to get a hold of you is probably Instagram.
Instagram, absolutely.
Go on Instagram, hit him up. If you guys can't get a hold of him, message me or message the Out of State Hunter, my buddy Chad Riker, and we will get you hooked up with Kevin, and we'll get your rifle built. That's the best deal going I've heard in a long time. $5,500 for a gun that shoots. So Kevin, man, you guys are awesome. Wish you the best of luck. Hope we can do some business together soon and at least shoot together.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing those new bipods you're coming out with.
Oh, the bipod's awesome, dude. Let's talk.